All right, let's talk about something that is, without a doubt, one of the deadliest things that can happen in general aviation: flying into a cloud by mistake. We're going to dig into why it's so incredibly dangerous. But more than that, we're going to explore a survival strategy that, well, it might just flip everything you thought you knew on its head. So let's dive right in.
Okay, I want to start with just one number: 178. Just think about that number for a second. It's not a speed limit. It's not an altitude. Nope, it's something way, way more critical.
That's right, 178 seconds. You heard me. According to some of the key studies on this, that's the average amount of time a pilot who isn't rated for instrument flying has to live after they fly into a cloud. We're talking less than 3 minutes. The second you lose sight of the ground, that clock, it starts ticking, fast. So this whole terrifying scenario, it actually has a name. It's called VFR into IMC. It is honestly one of these starkest reminders of just how quickly bad weather can turn deadly. And, really getting what that means is the absolute first step to making sure it never ever happens to you.
Okay, so let's break that down. What are we really talking about? Well, imagine you're a VFR pilot. That just means you're flying by visual flight rules. Basically, you're relying on your eyes to see where you're going. And then boom, you fly into what's called IMC, or Instrument Meteorological Conditions. To put it simply, you've gone from being able to see everything to seeing absolutely nothing. Just gray. You're flying blind, and you have no horizon, no ground, nothing to tell you which way is up. And believe me, the stakes could not be any higher. These numbers you see here, they're from the AOPA Air Safety Foundation, and they are just chilling. You've got a 71% chance of it being a fatal accident. But look at this other part. If that disorientation gets so bad that the plane actually breaks apart in the air, the fatality rate is 100%. 100. No one walks away from that. So you're probably asking, how does this even happen? I mean, pilots are trained to stay out of the clouds, right? The thing is, it's almost never one single bad decision. It's more like a chain, a series of small, kind of innocent-looking choices that slowly but surely lead you into an absolute disaster.
Yeah, it's insidious. That's a perfect word for it. It creeps up on you. Maybe you're flying along and the cloud ceiling starts to drop, but you think, I can just press on, it'll clear up. Or maybe you see that classic sucker hole, a little opening in the clouds, and you think, hey, I can just dip down through there. Or you're scud running, which is flying really low to stay under the clouds, but you don't realize the ground is slowly rising up to meet you. Every single one of these, they're classic deadly traps.
And check out this quote from a pilot who went through it. It just nails the feeling. The moment you're inside that cloud, your body, it starts lying to you. You can read all the books, you can know all the theory, but that physical feeling of being completely disoriented, it's overwhelming, and it happens so fast. So here's the absolute heart of the problem. Your inner ear, the thing that gives you your sense of balance, it goes completely haywire when you can't see the horizon. It will flat out lie to you. You might feel like you're flying perfectly straight and level, or maybe in just a gentle little turn, when in reality your plane is in a steep, tightening dive. They call it the graveyard spiral for a reason. Trusting your gut in this situation, it's a fatal mistake.
Okay, so imagine it. Your senses are screaming at you. Panic is setting in. What do? Well, for generations, pilots have been taught one thing: the life-saving 180-degree turn. The idea sounds simple, right? Just turn around and go back the way you came. But what if that's wrong? What if that piece of common wisdom, that thing that's supposed to save you, is actually making the whole situation 100 times worse? And this is where things get controversial. This quote, it's straight from an AOPA article, and it's basically heresy in the aviation world. Abolish the sacred 180-degree turn? Get rid of the one technique that pilots have been drilled on for decades? The whole argument is that in that moment of pure panic and confusion, the last thing you should do is try to make a turn. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The old way, that 180-degree turn, it's a panic move. It makes a huge assumption that the weather behind you is still good, which, it might not be. But here's the real kicker. Making that turn can actually cause or worsen the disorientation you're already fighting. The new way, it's all about one thing: aviate. Fly the airplane first. It's a calm, systematic procedure that gets you focused on your instruments right away. All right, so let's get into this better way. This procedure, it's actually adapted from US Navy training. And here's the key difference. It's not about trying to get out of the cloud right away. It's about learning to survive inside the cloud by getting that airplane under control first.
It all boils down to 3 things you have to do immediately. Number 1, level the wings. Just focus on the attitude indicator and get those wings level. That's your first step to getting a good instrument scan going. Number 2, center the ball. You see that little ball in your turn coordinator? Get it right in the middle. A trimmed up airplane might stall, but it's not going to spin on you, and that's huge. And finally, number 3, stop the up and down. Put the airplane's nose on the horizon and set your power for cruise. Just fly straight and level, stabilize.
And this all comes back to probably the single most important saying in all of aviation. You've probably heard it. Aviate, navigate, communicate. And it has to be in that order. Aviate, fly the airplane. Navigate, figure out where to go. Communicate, talk to somebody. If you grab that radio to call for help before you've even leveled the wings, you're skipping the single most important step, the one that's going to keep you alive. So, okay, you've got the plane stable, what now? Well, only after you're under control do you do anything else. If you're down low, you need to climb, and climb like a homesick angel. Get yourself up to a safe altitude, away from any hills or towers. Then, and only then, do you even think about turning. And it's not that panicked 180, it's a gentle, controlled turn. And only if you absolutely have to avoid terrain. And finally, confess. Squawk 7700 on your transponder. That's the universal code for I'm in trouble. Air traffic control will see it, and they will move heaven and earth to help you. You know, we've spent all this time talking about the best way to escape this nightmare scenario, but the truth is, the absolute best, #1 foolproof survival technique is to never get into it in the first place. The only real cure here is prevention. And that survival plan, it doesn't happen in the air. It happens on the ground before you even start the engine. It means getting a thorough weather briefing, not just, glancing at an app on your phone. It means setting hard personal limits for yourself. I will not fly if the clouds are below X. And then having the discipline to actually stick to them. Always have an escape plan before you need it. And honestly, get your instrument rating, or at the very least, get in the air with an instructor on a regular basis to practice these skills.
I love this quote. It's just a piece of old pilot wisdom, but it says everything you need to know. It is so much better to be stuck on the ground wishing you were up there flying than to be up there flying wishing you were safe on the ground. That really is the heart of good decision-making, right? That little bit of annoyance from canceling a trip, it's nothing, compared to the pure terror of being lost in a cloud just praying to be back on solid Earth. So let's end with this question. And this isn't just for fun, it's not a test. It's something every single pilot needs to have a rock-solid answer for right now. The clouds are closing in around you. The world outside is disappearing into gray. That 178-second clock has started. What are you going to do?